President's now taking aim at your ammo. President Obama working to use his executive action to ban some of the most used bullets in the country for the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. And the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives fast-tracking the 5.6 millimeter bullet ban. The President's now taking aim at your ammo. President Obama working to use his executive action to ban some of the most used bullets in the country for the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. And the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives fast-tracking the 5.6 millimeter bullet ban. The President's now taking aim at your ammo. President Obama working to use his executive action to ban some of the most used bullets in the country for the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. And the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives fast-tracking the 5.6 millimeter bullet ban.
Shalom, Israel. I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you elect men out there serving the Lord in sincerity and truth. All right, now this information I have here, Mercy Seat Christian Church, Gun Control and Genocide. You know, pretty much this lesson is going to be entitled Gun Control pretty much preludes to World War III, because, you know, this information was getting into different times of history and different points of history where certain nations use gun control or gun confiscation to tyrannize the people and to pretty much take hold to people, in which alluded to World War I and World War II. All right, well, let's begin reading. It says, down through history, governments have disarmed their citizens only to tyrannize those citizens once they were disarmed. The following chart documents just a few examples from recent history where gun control laws were enacted and then tyranny by the government proceeded. Then it reads, click on a country in the chart in order to learn about what occurred in that country. It says government genocide campaigns and the gun control laws that helped slaughter 56 million people. Now this chart is pretty much displaying, you know, the countries that perpetrated the government, the dates, the specific people that were targeted, you know, the amount of people that died in that land, the date in which the gun control law was established, and, you know, pretty much the name of the executive order that was signed, you know. But I just want to touch on two countries pretty much that established this gun control and gun confiscation alluding to certain wars. Let's start with Armenia. It says Armenia, after the government of the Ottoman Empire quickly crushed an Armenian revolt in 1893, tens of thousands of Americans were murdered by mobs, armed and encouraged by the government. As anti-Armenian mobs were being armed, the government attempted to convince Armenians to surrender their guns, just like was about to happen here in America, because Obama is already setting up bans for AR-15 bullets. You know, as the video just showed, it says a 1903 law banned the manufacture or import of gunpowder without government permission. In 1910, manufacturing or importing weapons without government permission, as well as carrying weapons or ammunition without permission, was forbidden. That's right. So in that time, you had certain individuals that wasn't able to import weapons, which means bringing weapons into the country without permission from the government, or they weren't able to carry certain weapons, you know, or ammunition, you know, such as bullets for that weapon, you know, because you got certain law officials that is able to carry guns, you know, like a police officer, so on and so forth, that is licensed and ordered to carry guns on the street. It's going to come a time that these officials and these law enforcement is not going to be able to carry their weapons. You also have certain people that's homeowners, you know, of a certain household. They're pretty much able to, you know, go to the gun range as long as they don't have any felonies and they're able to own a gun and to be able to have it concealed in their household. But what even that's gonna even that there's gonna come a time to even where a homeowner is not gonna be able to own a gun, because the time is coming, persecution time, to where these devils, these Edomites, is going to send an order out to pretty much confiscate guns around the communities. All right, but reading on, it says during World War I, in February 1915, local officials in each Armenian district were ordered to surrender quotas of firearms. When officials surrendered the required number, they were executed for conspiracy against the government. When officials could not surrender enough weapons for their community, the officials were executed for stockpiling weapons. That's right. So what? It was a catch-22. It was damned if they do and damned if they don't. And what the officials is pretty much what your police authority, your law enforcement, the fire department. Lord willing, it's going to come a time to where it's going to be sanctioned for the police authority to go around a local community and confiscate guns, man. You know, and Nate from the IUIC camp, he's a detective. So what? It's going to come a time to where he might just be ordered to go around the community and confiscating guns, and that just might be his fate, man. If it be the Lord's will. If he be of the elect, the Lord might have mercy upon him. But if not, death and destruction unto him, man. You know. But reading on, it says, Armenian homes were also searched and firearms confiscated. Many of these mountain dwellers had kept arms despite prior government efforts to disarm them. That's right, because what, you're gonna have a lot of these devils, these a lot of these patriots, that's gonna rise up against the government, and a lot of them they live in the mountains as well, and they're gonna go head to head with these devils and these martial law troops in that day, man. Certain people like the KKK, so on and so forth. All right. Reading on, it says the genocide against Armenians began with the April 24th, 1915 announcement that Armenians would be deported to the interior. The announcement came while the Ottoman government was desperately afraid of an Allied attack that would turn Turkey's war against Russia into a two-front war. In fact, British troops landed at Gallipoli in western Turkey the next day. Although the Anglo-Russian offensives failed miserably, the Armenian genocide continued for the next 2 years. Some of the genocide was accomplished by shooting or cutting down Armenian men. The bulk of the 1 to 1.5 million Armenian deaths, however, occurred during the forced marches to the interior. Although the marches were ostensibly for the purpose of protecting Armenians through relocation, the actual purpose was to make the marches so difficult, for example, by not providing any food, that survival was impossible. That's right. So it's going to come a time to where these devils are going to have you try to relocate, to have you relocate, to benefit you. But when you're dealing with these Edomites, these devils, they're going to have the masses of the people in derision. So they may have certain individuals walk into a concentration camp. It could be the next state, man, from where you were originally located. And what, they're not going to provide you food, they're not going to provide you food. So while you walking that long walk or walking that long march, without any food, well, it's going to be impossible for you to survive, man. And that's the nature of this devil. But reading on, the Armenian genocide differs from the 6 other genocides detailed in lethal laws in one important respect. Although many Armenians apparently complied with the gun control laws and deportation orders, some did not. For example, in southern Syria, then part of the Ottoman Empire, the Armenians refused to submit to the deportation order. Retreating into the hills, they took up a strategic position and organized an impregnable defense. The Turks attacked and were repulsed with huge losses. They proceeded to lay siege. Eventually, 4,000 survivors of the siege were rescued by the British and the French. These Armenians who grabbed their guns and headed for the hills are the converse to the vast numbers of Armenian and other genocide victims and lethal laws who submitted quietly. Although many of the Armenian fighters doubtless died from lack of medical care, starvation, or gunfire. So did many of the Armenians who submitted, as was the case of the Jewish resistance during World War II. Armed resistance was enormously risky, but the resistors had a far higher survival rate than the submitters. That's right. So that's what's going to come to America. And we're shortly approaching that time. Because what? You're going to have some people that rebel against this government, and then you're going to have some people that succumb against this government, man. But what? We in this truth, we are ones that are rebelling against this government. That's why this devil is trying to put certain laws into effect to what? Downplay this truth. You know? Downplay the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But through the spirit of the Lord, Lord willing, we maintain our faith unto the end, and we be of the hopeful elect. The Lord is going to carry us throughout that day, man. But I want to get another country right quick. Cambodia, and Lord willing, I'll put this link in the description box, so other brothers could read upon different countries and what happened in that land. But Cambodia, it says also enjoying a comfortable post-genocide life is Pol Pot, the perpetrator of the best-known mass murders of the post-World War II era. Cambodian gun control was a legacy of French colonialism. A series of royal ordinances decreed by monarchy subservient to the French appears to have been enacted out of fear of the communist and anti-colonial insurgencies that were taking place in the 1920s and 1930s through Southeast Asia, although not in Cambodia. The first law in 1920 dealt with the carrying of guns, while the law last in the series in 1938 imposed a strict licensing system. Only hunters could have guns, and they were allowed to own only a single firearm. These colonial laws appear to have stayed in place after Cambodia was granted independence. The Khmer Rouge enacted no new gun control laws, for they enacted no laws at all other than a constitution. That's right, and that's harping on. That's going into the scriptures, man. Shall the throne of righteousness have a fellowship with the throne of iniquity, that frame of mischief by a law? That's right. That's why we condemn this government through the spirit of power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because this devil, being the smallest of the heathen, he pretty much takes certain laws that were enacted and established and applies it to himself. Because Esau, the Edomites, the so-called white man, he's not creative, so he has to take certain laws passed by other governments and certain gods that the other nations follow to what? Apply it into himself, to incorporate it into himself for him to rule. You know, that's why this is Babylon the Great, man, the of great confusion, man. He has all of these philosophies and all of these laws mixed into one to apply it to himself, man, for him to rule the planet Earth. And that's why he got to be destroyed, man. But reading on, it says Cambodia was a poor country and few people could afford guns. On the other hand, the chaos that accompanies any war might have given some Cambodians the opportunity to acquire firearms from corrupt or dead soldiers. There is no solid evidence about how many Cambodians with no cultural history of firearms ownership attempted to do so. As soon as the Khmer Rouge took power, they immediately set out to disarm the populace. One Cambodian recalls that Aang, a woman, watched soldiers stride onto the porches of the houses and knock on the doors and ask the people who answered if they had any weapons. So right, just like what happened in the time of Cambodia, the same thing is going to happen in this present time in America, man. Because now this devil is going to allow the government to go to certain people's house to see if they have certain vaccines, to what? Prep the people as if this is the norm. So what? It's going to come a time to where these devils is going to go from door to door and ask the people if they have any weapons in the household, man. you know and that was the one of the primary reasons why this devil, the so-called white man, wanted the man out of the household. Because, say for an example, if it's nothing but a woman and her children in the house, you know, um, he'll approach that woman, ask them if they have any firearms or any weapons in the household, whether it be knives, machetes, guns, whatever she replies. If they do have weapons, they're going to tell them to get rid of the weapons, and they're going to be their the military is going to be their protection, in which they're going to be completely lying to them, because what, all out chaos is going to be happening around that time, and they're pretty much going to say, we're going to protect you from civilians or any terrorists that come in and try to rape you. And in turn, they're going to the military troops is going to be the main ones doing the raping, man. The raping and the ravishing. But what, that's going into prophecy, man, in the book of Zechariah. But reading on, it says, we are here now to protect you. The soldiers said, and no one has a need for a weapon anymore. Case in point, it says, people who said that they kept no weapons were forced to stand aside and allow the soldiers to look for themselves. The roundup of weapons took 9 or 10 days, and once the soldiers had concluded the villagers were no longer armed, they dropped their pretense of friendliness. The soldiers said everyone would have to leave the village for a while so that the troops could search for weapons. When the search was finished, they could return to what? Disarm the people. So the people don't have any fortitude or any strength to defend themselves, man. Because what? The masses of the people is carnal. So what? They rely on certain weapons to what? Get ahead, man. To get ahead. And to what? To protect themselves and to protect their families. That's why just in during the time of Armenia, certain officials who pretty much didn't put forth the quota, or didn't meet their quota, they were put to death. Because what? They was held in conspiracy and rising up against the government. Because what? You're gonna have certain law officials that want to protect themselves and also want to protect their families, man. So reading on, it says people being forced out of villages and cities were searched thoroughly, and weapons and foreign currency were confiscated, to the limited extent that Cambodians owned guns through the government licensing system. The names of registered gun owners were of course available to the new government. The Cambodian genocide was unique in the 20th century, in that its target was not a single ethnic, religious, or political group, but rather the entire educated populace. Anybody that was educated. And that's what's pretty much going into this time now. Anybody that has knowledge of this truth, or knowledge of what's going on, or knowledge of the New World Order, you are deemed a terrorist, man. Lacking infrastructure for sophisticated Nazi-style extermination camps, which you got camps being set up today as well. The concentration camps, the FEMA camps, they have over 900 camps ready to be occupied in this land, America, man. And it may be more, because 900, that was just a count about over a year ago. And it says the Khmer Rouge used the genocide methods which have been used by the Turkish government, internal deportations with forced marches designed to kill. The Soviet government, hard labor under conditions likely to kill, and the Guatemalan government, murders of targeted victims. Like other victims of genocide, the Cambodians forced into slave labor were kept so desperately hungry that revolt became difficult to contemplate, as every thought focused on food. One slave labor explained that. And that's right. So that's what's going to happen in these concentration camps. They're going to force slavery upon you, free labor. At free labor, they're not going to feed you, because it's going to be a war tactic. Because what? You're going to be weak and weary to rise up against the government. So your only thought is to what? Eat food, man, or drink water. So what? You can't rise up against the government, or you can't break free. You won't have enough energy to break free and get loose. But in that day, Lord willing, we are part of the elect, and it be the Lord's will for us to get caught in them concentration camps. The Lord is going to deliver us, man. The Lord is going to deliver us, whether it be through death, whether we gotta be a martyr through this truth, or whether the Lord sends an angel and frees us from the concentration camp, like he did Peter in the book of Acts. So what? Our faith is in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But 2/3 of our people that doesn't have the knowledge of this truth is going to get caught out there, man. And the Heavenly Father is going to allow the so-called white man, the Edomites, to have their way with them. Reading on, it says there was no possibility of an uprising. Contact between many people was made impossible by the Chalops, which means the informers. Besides, we had no arms and no food. Even if we'd been able to produce arms and kill the 50 Khmer Rouge in the village, what would happen to us? That's right, so they had fear. We didn't have enough food to build up in any reserves to sustain a guerrilla army. In our state of weakness after a few days wandering in the jungle, death would have been inevitable. The authors estimate that Pol Pot and his Khmer Rouge murdered about 1 million people, at least 14% of the Cambodian population. The percentage was about the same as the percentage of the Soviet population murdered by Stalin, except that the Pol Pot accomplished in 3.5 years what took Stalin 20. The mass murders of the Khmer Rouge became well known in the international community, but no nation made an effort to try to rescue the Cambodian people. Finally, Pol Pot was driven from power by a Vietnamese invasion that was motivated by imperialist rather than humanitarian reasons. That's pretty much the point. But what? These are all points in history that happened and which is pretty much happening or happening and about to happen in this present time in this land America. And it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse because I believe in the book of Daniel, it says it's going to be a time that's never been seen. What's about to happen here in America, man. Because you're going to have disease warfare running rampant. You're going to have zombies out here running rampant. You're going to have the beasts, new beasts that were newly created running around killing and slaughtering the people. Who these devils been creating on these remoted islands and things of that nature. So it's going to be all out, hell ready to come upon this land America. But going into present time, prophecy. This is Dave Hodges, The Common Sense Show. This article was uploaded April 7th, 2015. It says phase 2 of Jade Helm 15 is emerging. Phase 1 is the dissident extraction. Pretty much, these military troops preparing for those people rising up against the government or preaching against the government, which is really us, the men of Great Millstone, the brothers teaching the same doctrine, under Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. This is all set up and geared towards us, man, because they got something called the Project Megiddo list, in which the Hebrew Israelites is on that list, man. But reading on this phase 2 gun confiscation in the UN Small Arms Treaty. It says reportedly phase 2 of Jade Helm will consist of gun confiscation, and there is ample evidence pointing to this strong possibility, and it started with a very concerning act that involved the Secretary of State, John Kerry, and President Obama, as Kerry signed the illegal and unconstitutional UN Small Arms Treaty, which effectively bans all private ownership of guns. So just like what happened in the time of Armenia, and what happened in the time of Cambodia, which both led to World War I, and what situations happened in World War II, the same things happening right now in this present time approaching World War III, and what you got 2/3 of our people who voted for this black devil Barack Obama, man. It says, "Cursed be he who maketh flesh his arm, man." And put his trust in man. So what? The people that put their trust in Barack Obama and his beast system, what? It's going to be a curse unto them, because now these elites is causing Barack Obama to ban all private ownership of guns, man. So your amendments, your right to bear arms, is being eradicated, man. It's becoming null and void. It says, reading on, there is one provision in the treaty that has received absolutely no attention in our mainstream media, and that is the section having to do with confiscation and the use of foreign troops. That's right, because that's going into the scriptures. They say, when peace and safety, when they shall speak of peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. Because now they having peace talks between, Russia and America, North Korea, and Iran and the nuclear deals how they come into a common ground. But what? It's going to come a time where a sudden destruction is going to come upon them. And the scriptures also speak upon how the Lord's going to come like a thief in the night. And for the Lord to come like a thief in the night to 2/3 of our people, this information cannot be pushed in the mainstream media. You know, just reading on, it says, state parties to the ATT may seek assistance in implementing the treaty. The ATT indicates that a voluntary trust fund was established to promote the establishment of a multinational gun confiscation program. So this is going to happen across all 50 to 51 states of America. I have learned that Jade Helm 15 will also use its multinational partners in the upcoming drill, thus enhancing the strong possibility that foreign troops will be used to seize American guns. That's right. So Barack Obama is going to use foreign troops, the UN troops that walk around with the blue symbols and the blue top hats, the war hats. They're going to use them to seize American people and the American guns, man. Because what you're going to have certain American soldiers that's going to have compassion upon the American people, and that's why Barack Obama is now purging his military now. That's not for this whole martial law and gun confiscation program. You got a lot of these people that's in the military and veterans that's deemed terrorists as well, because the um they know how the American government operates as far as invading another country, man. Because what? They were out there in Iraq, they were out there in Afghanistan, they were out there in Vietnam, so on and so forth. And what? They raped, robbed, and murdered all the people in that land. So they're going to be one of the first ones to pretty much get destroyed, and targeted when this martial law is implemented in America, man. It says, therefore, it is difficult to believe that gun confiscation is not on the list of activities for Jade Helm 15, and that my sources are correct. More proof for Jade Helm morphing into a gun confiscation drill comes from the United Nations itself, under the heading Hiding in Plain Sight. The United Nations previously advertised for the following position in the summer of 2014. That's right. So what? They causing all of these situations to happen in plain sight. They doing all of these military drills, in plain sight to where the people can see them. But what? They're hiding it to making it seem like these situations is not going to happen. And you got a new movie called No Escape coming out. I forgot the actor's name off the top of my head. His name escapes me, but it's going to show like how it's going to be martial law in other parts of the world as well, man. You know, so all of these things is brewing up, to what? Take down you tribes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But the Lord set up men. The Lord set up His prophets to give the people warning. And 2/3 is walking in their own lust. Going after their own wants and cares of the world, and not hearkening unto the word of the Lord, man. So what? They're gonna be caught out there. But we of the hopeful elect, that's preaching this truth, you know, the Lord is preparing us spiritually and mentally, you know, by us measuring the times diligently, man. Because scriptures say, watch as well as pray, lest you fall into temptation. But tapping into the scriptures. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. And that's right, and that's talking about what? The gun confiscation and the gun control, of what happened in Armenia leading up to World War I, in certain areas of World War II, you know, with the different Central Powers and the Allied powers, in the time of Cambodia, when they had they gun confiscation as far as going door to door to see if anybody owned weapons in the households and things of that nature. All of that is coming to America as well, in the time of starving the people. That's coming to America as well, so the people cannot rebel or revolt against the government. That happened back then in Cambodia. You know, it happened back then in Armenia, and it's going to happen again to when these these FEMA camps are occupied and established, man. Let's read that again. It says, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." That's right. So we all dwelling under the sun, So what? The Lord requires the thing of old, man. Let's get that Ecclesiastes in the 3rd chapter. I believe it's the 15th verse. It says, "That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And the Most High requireth that which is past." That's right. So all it is history repeating itself, man. It's all history repeating itself, you know, because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has to destroy 2/3 of our people for the kingdom to come in, man. He has to destroy 2/3 of our people for the kingdom of heaven to be established on the planet Earth, you know. And we, us brothers in this truth, you know, we have that understanding, and we can't wait for the Lord to do his thing, man. Because the sooner the Lord have these prophecies roll around, the sooner we'll be at peace and in our rest, man. Because with the Barack Obama banning AR-15 bullets, you know, which is the ammunition which is mostly used in this land, America, you know, and that's what they call army guns or army ammunition. You know, because Jake in the Hood even has AR-15s, man. How much more these devils and these crackers living in these rural areas, man, out there in the mountains, you know? But more importantly, that's geared towards Jake, man. You know, the confiscation of guns, that's geared towards Jake, because that's all preparation and this devil sharpening his sword, man. If I could get the book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 9. That's this devil sharpening his sword for you tribes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the Lord is going to allow this devil to have his way with you, man. Salakia. Book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 9. It says, "Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened, and also furbished." That's right, that sword is talking about destruction, starting with martial law, but starting with these devils confiscating your guns, man, and banning certain bullets, to where the government is not going to be able to import or manufacture any weaponry, man. You know, so what the Lord told us to prophesy about these things, you know, and it goes to show that these other camps ain't right. That's not preaching about the destruction that's coming, you know. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter, you know, because what in the ancient world, when men would go to battle, they would sharpen their sword and they would furbish their sword, you know, and it will be so furbished that they could they could look in their sword as if it was a mirror, man. And the more you sharpen and furbish your sword, the sharper it becomes. So when you go up into battle, you know, the slightest penetration could cause an individual to bleed profusely, man. You know, reading on, it says, "Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree." So that's what the scripture is asking. It's asking a rhetorical question, man. That's the Lord being facetious. So in this present time where these martial law troops is doing drills, such as Jade Helm 15, which I believe is being occupied out there in Texas, parts of California, Utah, New Mexico. I believe they're doing drills out there in Boston as well. And there's going to come a time where it's going to take place in all states of this country, you know. So it says, should we then make mirth? Should we be out there in the clubs in excess, you know, worrying about fucking every bitch out there, you know, committing adultery, you know, drinking, having a good time, you know, going to get your college degree. I mean, so the scripture saying in this present time where they're gearing up to confiscate your gun, should we then make mirth? It says, "It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree." That word contemneth means despises, man. It means this devil hates you tribes, man. Because the scriptures speak upon, "For Israel is the rod of my inheritance," man. That's the whole nation, you know, the 12 tribes of Israel. But what this martial law, this Jade Helm 15, this gun confiscation is all leading up to the despising of you tribes, man. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Verse 11, and he hath given it to be furbished that it may be handled. That's right. So the Lord gave it to the hand of the so-called white man to be handled, for it to be handled, for the Lord's will to be done. Proverbs 16:4 says the Lord created the wicked for the day of evil, man. That evil day is the hour of martial law and during the times of the hour of temptation, man. And the Lord said for it to be handled. Going back into Genesis and the prophecies about Jacob and Esau, his blessing was the sword, man, which is destruction. And he said, with the sword shall you serve your brother, which is Jacob, which is us, the nation of Israel. And this devil been serving us for over 500 years, man. But what? This is the last go round. This is the last go round. The Revelations 12:12 tell you, for this devil know that he has but a short time. So this devil can't wait to get his hands on us, man. If it be the Lord's will. But the Lord is going to allow this devil to put his hands on you 2/3 that refuse to listen to the word of the Lord, man. The apostle Gabar, from Great Millstone, he brought out how these elites, they thrive and they thirst for the hour of for the hour of martial law, man. They got them bayonets ready to be occupied on you tribes, man. The sword that hangs on under the gun. They ordered over 2 billion hollow tip point bullets through FEMA last year. So what? This is all of that sword being furbished and sharpened to take out you tribes, man. It says, verse 12, it says, cry and howl, son of man. That's what we out here doing on the highways and byways, and the brothers putting up them shows. It says, for it shall be upon my people. Who's the Lord's people? The nation of Israel. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel. That goes for you, Jesse Jackson, Jesse Jackass, Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan, all the way down to the actors, Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Kevin Hart, gay ass, to the rappers of Jay-Z, the 50 Cents, the Meek Mills, the Rick Rosses, all of the people that have some type of substance in this wicked society, man, and it has a so-called voice. These terrorists are going to fall upon you as well, man. It says, terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. That's right. So that's what this martial law is geared up to do, man. Because what? At the end of the day, all of this gun confiscation and all of this gun control and this genocide is leading up to World War III. All of these situations is going to happen before World War III is established. Once Israel, I believe Israel, gets on Iran, and then America is forced to back Israel to go into Iran, that's the beginning of World War III, man. But what? Everything, the Lord got his chess moves all set up in place, ready to go, man. But what? The destruction is not going to come until the elect get sealed in their foreheads. But let's get the book of Revelation, the 9th chapter, I believe the 12th verse. It says, Revelation 9:12, it says, one woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And that first woe is talking about World War I. World War I. That passed on, I believe, it started 1915 to about 1918, if I'm not mistaken. That was the first World War that came to pass, man. And a lot of drastic change happened after World War I. There was a lot of change that happened culturally, socially, economically, and 4 empires lost their place in rulership, man. The 4 empires being the Ottoman Empire, the Australia, Hungary, Germany, and Russia, man. Because war brings forth peace, man. War has to happen for certain changes to happen on the planet Earth, man. It's all set up by design under Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know, because when you get into history of the World War I, you know, they pretty much was a different change culturally as far as, you know, how the women dressed, you know, um socially, because after World War I, women were also able to have voting rights. You know, America was pretty much the last place uh, for voting to be established for women. But yeah, other nations that were able to vote, and that was all set up uh, to happen after World War I. You know, you also had rationing on the foods during World War I. The people weren't able to eat as much as they could or as much as they wanted. You know, and also during World War I, a change that happened was the censorship of information that was to go out, because there was certain information that the people knew that they weren't able to share, or tell the rest of the people. And that's what's happening now in this present time through net neutrality, man. Through net neutrality, because net neutrality is a censorship on the internet, man. And that's what these devils got set up in this present time. Just to get a quick understanding on the net neutrality. Because what the net neutrality is doing is pretty much uh, uh, allowing videos that's being uploaded to be uploaded at a slower process, you know, and to pretty much take away certain information, you know, primarily that brothers is in this truthers out here condemning this nation about, you know. But this is net neutrality. It says it's the principle that internet service providers and governments should treat all data on the internet equally. That's right, but it wasn't set up for everything to be set up equal. That's the nature of this devil, man. He wants everything to be equal in his own benefit. But behind closed doors, he knows that there's a superior and there's an inferior. And he knows at this present time he's superior, and we of the nation of Israel are the inferior, man. But when it comes to this information coming out, he wants everything to be equal. But what? We coming out through the scriptures. The scripture is about balance. And the balance is that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai declares that the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, and all of his underlings, which is these other nations, is to be our servants in the kingdom to come, man. So what? They don't like this information being coming out, you know. So what? They going to put a censorship, just like they did during the time of World War I, you know. So reading on, it says not discriminating or charging differentially by user, content, site, platform, application, type of attached equipment, or mode of communication. You know, so what? This devil wants to censor all of this. Basically, this truth, man. You know, he wants to censor the brothers out there on the highways and byways, condemning this land, America, man. Babylon the Great. You know. But the next scripture, book of Revelations, the 11th chapter, in the 14th verse, it reads, it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. That's right. So what? The first woe is past, which is World War I. The second woe is past, which was World War II, which was believed from 1939 to about 1945. You know, my memory serves me correctly. You know, the the Lord allowed for certain situations to happen with World War II as well, and after World War II, that's when the United Nations was pretty much comprised and created, you know, so that there could never be a World War III. That's one thing that they were preventing, was a World War III. That's why you see a lot of these peace talks going on. That's why you have all of these nuclear deals between America and Iran. Then you have North Korea and South Korea going back and forth and them trying to come to a common ground. You know, all of these politics that's happening, which is the United Nations, that was all set up to what? Not for them not to have a third world war. Because they know in the third world war, that's going to be a nuclear war. And they're trying to stray away from nuclear war. But now they know that a nuclear war with the elites, they know that a nuclear war is inevitable and it has to happen. That's why it's set up. They got set up underground bunkers. They got set up sea bunkers, and they got these space stations out of space because they think they're gonna escape the destruction. You know, the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, all of the banking families, because they're the only ones that's going to escape this destruction, you know, so they could be the first batch of slaves in the kingdom of heaven. But the peons is going to get caught out there. Barack Obama, King Jong Un, Benjamin Netanyahu, um, and the ruler of Iran, his name escapes me. They gonna get caught out there, man. There ain't gonna be no place for them to go. You know. So what? All of these peace talks and all of these nuclear deals is what to prevent World War III from happening. But the Lord said it's gonna happen and it has to happen. You know, in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. Let's grab that. Please start at I guess we'll start at verse 15. It says Revelation 17 and 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And that whore is talking about America. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, that's talking about NATO, you know, because now the Lord is allowing certain prophecies to being fulfilled to where the NATO countries is hating America, man. You know, British hates America, Germany's starting to hate America, and other nations starting to hate America, man. Because now, I believe it was Germany, they wasn't, they didn't approve for America to aid Ukraine with weapons, you know, because what they was all trying to go into that peace talk. They trying to have that peace with Russia, but America being that whore, you know, wanted to do what the hell it wanted to do, just like a whore does, you know. So what? That's another part of prophecy being fulfilled, as far as the horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore. You know, that's one of the reasons why these other nations that's a part of NATO hates America. And then it says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So all of these other nations are going to send nuclear missiles upon America as well. And this is the point, verse 17. It says, for the Most High have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. You know, so what? The Lord put it in the hearts of these other nations, the kings of the earth, to fulfill his will, man. So it's not up to your little peace talks, you know, your little peace treaties, the nuclear deals you try to come to a common ground with, you know, to try to stray away from World War III. The Lord said he's going to bring you to the valley of decision for him to judge you, man. Yahweh's Mashapat. And what? The Lord's going to allow his son, Yahweh Shai, to what? Get his glory, man, to seek his vengeance. And after the Lord get his licks off first, so to speak, you know, to destroy the other nations with the power of his own hand under Yahweh, you know, the Lord's going to allow his holy angels to wreak havoc on you devils and you other nations as well, man. And Lord willing, we hope we are part of that remnant and we are part of that elect, man. Lord willing, we hold fast our faith unto the end, man. You know, but that's pretty much, you know, lesson was a little long. Lord willing, you know, brothers was edified out there, you know, because what? All of this gun confiscation and gun control and genocide is leading up to World War III, you know, and all things work unto good to them that love Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So what? We can't wait for these prophecies to start rolling around. And just hope that the Lord have mercy upon us in the time that's quickly approaching, the time of persecution. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and honors to the elect men out there serving the Lord in sincerity and truth. Shalom and death to America.